Dan. Hello. You know how Robert tells the story about his father beating him with a hammer? And when you hear that story, everyone goes, oh my God, how can he not feel any emotion when he tells that story? And that story has obviously had such a deep impact that he must remember it and he must retell it with some kind of feeling. But when he tells the story, it's like he's just telling a script that he's recounting. Well, for me, about a month ago, one of my friends came down to visit, a good friend of mine with his girlfriend, and during the visit, she killed herself. And I was the last person to talk to her, and we've been having a nice weekend together. They came down for my birthday, so it was quite an event of us all being together. And I tapped frantically for about 5 days, and then I have also been tapping with Linda about the entire event. But I've gotten to the point now where I've tapped out so much of the story, if not all of it, that I can tell you very matter-of-factly what happened. And it's almost like how Robert recounts his story about his father beating with a hammer. And people, you all just reacted the same way that it is when I tell everybody, my friend killed herself. Oh my God. But to me, I can just say it so matter-of-factly, like it's just a story that I know. It's just something that I can share, but there's no emotion behind it. And so when I tell this story to other people, when I'm so emotionless about it, they're like, well, what happened? Like, how come you don't feel anything about it? Well, because I don't want to, because it was so painful when it happened. And so now it's just something that happened, an event, and it means nothing. And if I had held on to it, it would mean something. It would validate something, and then it would continue to manifest in other ways in my life. And I knew that, and I had to get rid of it. So here I am less than a month later from that event, and it has no emotion in me, similar to Robert talking about how his father beat him with a hammer.
So what is your opinion about that?
My opinion about that, well, I read a couple of books like Embraced by the Light, which were really helpful, and how I really had to just come to terms with my own fears of death through this process. And how, it's really just, I believe that we have a spirit within us that, embodies this body, and then really the death was, death of my friend or death of anybody, death of myself will just be kind of like removing this coat that we're wearing, and then we kind of move on to the next level. And that, I needed to have this experience, obviously, and what a great gift that she gave me for me to be able to have this context now and not fear that any longer. And so when I think about her now, I just think about all the joyful times that we had together, and I just think how she's just, I'm almost envious, like she's there, she's got all the answers, she's at the next level, and I'm like, look, this is what I want, help me out, send me the right signs and directions. So I still feel like we're still having a relationship.
Isn't that awesome? And of course, we have to make peace with death. Because I don't know if you know this, but everyone in this room is going to die. Do you realize that? I'm going to die. We're all going to die. And those who have died are okay. It's the living who's tormented. The living make guilt themselves, punishing themselves. Only if I would have. You don't know how many saviors I run across, these women and men trying to save the world, and yet they can't even save themselves from their own misery. They always try to pick on themselves, blame themselves, guilt themselves. But when you make peace with it, the relationship you have with those who have passed will be better. And it's so crazy. And of course, I do have the Grief and Loss series, and it gives you the belief system that's a very healthy belief system about grief and loss. And of course, if you're grieving, there's a distorted belief. If you love them, you grieve. That means you just be sad because they died the rest of your life. Which, by the way, I think that's a dishonor to those who had left. The lady who was married for 50 years, wonderful marriage, he died in 3 days, and guess which amount of time is she holding on to? The 3 days. Which means the 3 days were more important than all the good things in her life that they had together. And so here it is for 9 years. She's gained 100 pounds. Her health is going downhill. And she cries every night holding this blanket. She came in. I worked with her one session. We addressed 99% of her grief. The second time I said, bring your photo album. We're going to start tapping on whatever's left on the photo album. As we healed this part, and now she has a new relationship with her husband. She now starts spending time with her grandchildren, which, by the way, while she's suffering and grieving, guess how much time she spent with the living? None. Matter of fact, she's trying to kill herself. And it does no good. No matter how much you grieve, it doesn't undo anything, but it does destroy those who practice it. So then we start healing and changing this, and the interesting thing is just like your current relationship is based on all the previous ones. Your love, the guy started going out with blondes, and all of a sudden he likes blondes, or he likes women who are soft-hearted, or men who are this or that, because you build your taste by what you experience. And from those experiences and your loves, you pass it on to the next relationship. You keep improving. Some improve in the wrong way, being beaten or abused, but this is how the brain works. So you've got to heal the past, and then here it is, we addressed all this stuff. The amazing thing is that she found a new man in her life. And she took all the love that she's been practicing for 50 years and put it in a new relationship. And the old one is just as valuable, but now she can pass it on to the next level, which is to her grandchildren, this new relationship, and her health will improve. Her life has improved because of it. So I always say with grief and loss, just realize every relationship will bring you two presents. One of the presents has all the bad experiences and the way you represent it, all the bad memories, all the hurts, and all whatever you can put in this box. And the other one, all the good memories, all the good experiences, the valuable lessons, the good stuff that's inside the box. And I suggest looking at the box before you open it, because the labor in opening the box will determine how you feel. So if you look at this box, it has ugly stuff on the outside, the wrappings, bad pictures, and it stinks a little bit. Don't open it. Take it and throw it in the fire. Make peace with it. Roast you some wieners and enjoy all the good things inside the good box. Because then you will add to the world and to your life and to the loved ones that still are around. If not, if you have no more loved ones, you create new ones. But if you keep opening the bad box, you're going to have less and less and less. And you'll have more and more pain and more hurt. Just realize death is a part of life. When you're at peace with it, you're not tormented. When it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Who knows? The lady whose husband died while they're having sex. And of course, she's traumatized. Now she doesn't want to get in a relationship. She's afraid she's going to have to kill them if they have sex. I mean, isn't that crazy? And so we started addressing these emotions in and around this, and all of a sudden, she became so proud that he went in a great way. And now her relationship has not only changed, but now she's out dating and married now by merely releasing the hurt. When you can take your worst experience and make it your greatest, you did a good job. And that's what we want. Do a good job, heal your life, and move on. Make sense?